me. Welcome to Gilford Public Library's program on sugaring. I'm here at Maple Meadows with the owners of this amazing place here. I mean, it has to be amazing because I don't think anyone has ever seen me in this unless you see me at the gym. But we're going to have a lot of fun here. So guys, tell me, how did this come about?
Well, I grew up doing it and thought we would evolve it here and make a legit operation become reality.
So did you grow up with having a farm doing this, or did you just go with friends, did you go with family? Like...
No, my aunt and uncle back in Vermont, they had a sugaring operation, so I've grown up doing it my entire life.
Oh my gosh, I mean a real expert here, guys. And how about you, Matthew?
I'm just a learner.
You're just a learner. Well, story had it that something about bad habits and turning into something bigger here. Tell me more about that.
Just started small in the driveway in the beginning, and always wanted things bigger and better. And here we are today.
Here we are today. Well, we all love a good success story, and we love local success stories. So stick around and we'll show you how we get to the delicious things that you're seeing now in the stores, which is the maple syrup, of course. Hey guys, so we are out in the lines. You learn something new every day, people. I'm learning, and so are you. So I just wanted to show you here. This is what is a line, and we're gonna have, okay, I'm climbing things here. I don't know if you guys can see here, but this is the sap that's flowing. You can see the plug there, and sap is flowing through here. So tell me more about this.
So we use a line system now. This is 3/16 tubing, and so we tap a tree and then it connects to this line system, so it's much more efficient for us. We used to use a bucket system that you used to have to go around to every single tree and gather every one, but this just is a streamlined way to use it.
It's your best time, right?
That's
What's your
right.
favorite?
So we also have a vacuum pump that's down below that assists with sucking the sap out of the trees.
All right, let's take a walk. But can you imagine going to each and every tree and lifting the sap from each individual buckets? I mean, I think we've had to pass at least, I don't know, what would you say, 20 trees so far that are tapped?
There's probably 50 trees from here up. There's
wow.
a lot of trees.
Yeah, there are a lot of trees here. So how many times do you guys tap your trees?
We only tap them once. We tap them at the end of January, beginning of February, somewhere in there when it begins to thaw out. And that's all we do. And we go out almost every day and check the lines, make sure everything is tight and there's no leaks at all. Because the pesky squirrels like to chew on the lines, getting the sweet sap out of it.
I mean, it's delicious.
We gotta keep a close eye on that. We have trees and stuff that fall down the line, so we gotta keep those trimmed up.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
So when is the best time for this sap to come out?
The best time is the end of February is pretty much our peak, and during March is the best time because the snow is really starting to melt and the temperature is starting to rise, so we're getting warmer during the day. The only time you can get sap, the best time I should say, is when it freezes at nighttime and warms up during the day. To about 40 degrees we liked it.
40 degrees, that's the magic number?
That's pretty much a magic number. If it gets up above 60 degrees or so, they start to slow down because it just gets too hot for them, you know?
Oh, okay.
And when it starts to warm up like that, the buds start coming out on the trees, and it starts making the sap and the syrup taste different. So
okay.
when it gets too hot, like last week, it really slowed down. But this week, because we've gotten the colder weather again, it's starting to pick up a little bit.
So little birdie told me that today was the best ever.
Not the best ever. Temperature-wise, it was, but yield was not.
Oh no!
No.
What do you think happened?
It's just towards the end of the season, so everything's starting to slow down a little bit and seal up. These taps, after a while, they do seal up because the trees are starting to heal themselves again. So the yield is a little bit less.
So here you have it, guys. This is all these trees. I'll show you again. Look at these lines. All these lines go all the way up. That's where we were standing, where it was way up there. And all these trees, we have over 50 trees. They all run through, and all that deliciousness runs into this big old vat. And is that solar panels you have here?
Yeah, so we have a solar powered 12-volt pump that runs on this.
Eco-friendly, I love it.
It is. So this pulls roughly about 25 inches depending on how much sap is going into it. So any stagnant sap that's in the lines just gets sucked out. We used to just rely on the gravity of it, but we found that we get about double the sap if we put a vacuum pump on it and just assist a little bit. So it's definitely not hurting the trees by any means, just helping it out.
Okay, perfect. So what are we gonna see next?
We'll see it boiling.
So what we're looking at here is when this number reaches 850, he's going to open this up again to feed it some wood, make it nice and hot, and then at 219.6, it will pour off in here. Okay, so what we're seeing here is that they are bringing up the temperature, and when he did that, we see that sap is now coming in. All right, so we're going to be looking at that again. Tell me about this huge machine here. I feel like this is some major stuff going on over here.
So this is what we consider the evaporator. So we have a big tank that's up back there, an 830-gallon tank. So it comes in through this PVC pipe right here and drops into our steamaway. So this is a float box that's up in there that regulates the sap level. There's tubes that are inside of the steamaway that preheat the sap in there. So before it comes down into the rear pan, it's coming in at 190 degrees being preheated up above. So it comes down into the rear pan. You can see it on the other side here. And in this little window right here, we can see the rear pan.
Short people problems.
You can see it bubbling in there away.
Wow, that's
And
insane.
that's where the majority of the work happens, is in the rear pan.
That's amazing.
So then it comes around, it goes to another float box on the other side, and this is our finishing pan, our front pan, where we really finalize becoming syrup. So it goes back and forth through these chambers as it gets denser, and then we end up drawing off like you saw in the beginning there.
Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit closer, as close as I can, without getting a syrup facial here. What I hear is that it's actually not as thick as you want it to be, correct?
Correct. So we leave it a little bit light before syrup, because we do have to finish it one more time to make sure that it's absolutely perfect. So we leave it a little bit light, because when you warm it up, you're still going to lose water.
How do we tell that whether it's thick enough or not?
So we use a hydrometer. We test it with, and that tests the density of the syrup. So that's our gauge. We have these red marks on there. One is for cold and one is for hot. Obviously we're using the hot temperature, the hot test right now. And when it floats up to there, we just leave it just before it, and then we draw it off and set our automatic draw off for that.
Okay guys, so that number is right where we want it, and look at that! Yay! Moving! Okay, it's coming! Yay! All right, so what are you doing now again?
So we're testing with the hydrometer.
I don't know how he's doing this. I would be
So you
scared.
can see the red line on there. We're
Okay.
just leaving it just barely below the red line. So you can't quite see it.
Okay, there you go. That's pretty amazing. Okay. Okay, so now what we're doing is checking the sugar content in the sap. And look at this. We have like a lot of teamwork going on over here.
So we're only about 1% sugar content. So the calculation for it is, it's called the rule of 86. So at 1% sugar content, it takes 86 gallons of sap to boil down to 1 gallon of syrup. So that's our ratio tonight. So now we're going to the finishing process. So we're going to take and heat up this syrup that's in this vat here and bring it up to 211 degrees. And then we're going to check it with the hydrometer once again to make sure that it's absolutely perfect.
What does that mean? What is absolutely perfect? What does that mean to you?
So we're checking the density. So that's how you measure syrup, is by the density of it, how the hydrometer floats in the syrup. So
Alright.
when we bring it up to the red line on the hydrometer like
Yeah.
we showed before, then we know it's dead on and it's actually syrup.
It'll
Alright,
stay-
guys.
And it'll stay syrup and not become sugar.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna see some magic happening right now. We're moving it over to this fire here.
So this is our filter press. This is how we make sure that that syrup coming off the evaporator is crystal clear. So these are the frames of the filter press. We put these filter papers in there. So we stack all these filters up in there. And then there's a hollow frame, a waffle frame, a hollow frame, a waffle frame. And the hollow frames get filled with a product known as filter aid. It's diatomaceous earth. So that's actually what's filtering out the niter and all the contaminants, not so much contaminants, but dirt that's in the syrup itself.
Can you see the hollow frame?
So that whole cavity in there is going to get packed full of that filter aid.
When we put the filter in?
Andrea, tell me more about this filter. You just told me off camera, like what? It is the most relatable thing to me that I've heard all night.
Well, I feel like the filter feels like a paper towel. It's a real thick paper towel. And when you put it in like this, what's going to do is it's going to collect this niter and some of the other things that we don't want in our syrup. And when we talk about niter and like what niter would be like, it's kind of like when you enjoy a really good cup of coffee. And you're just loving your cup of coffee, and as you get to the bottom of your cup of coffee, you notice all the coffee grounds in the bottom of your coffee, and you're like, oh.
Hello, French press.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how good the cup of coffee was, as soon as you try it with, you realize the grounds are in it, it's just ruined it. And so that's like niter to maple syrup. Usually if you see niter in maple syrup at the bottom of your maple syrup jar or at the very last pour, you can see discoloration in your syrup, or it'll look like more brown or black. I guess that's discoloration. And it also alters the flavor significantly. So some people say they don't like real maple syrup, and I think it's probably because they haven't had maple syrup where the niter is taken out.
So as you guys can see, we started here at daytime. We are about 4.5 hours later, and it's nighttime outside. And another vast difference that you couldn't tell is that right now it is 100 degrees in here. Yes, I said it's 100 degrees in here.
Yeah, it was 80 earlier, and just within a few minutes we had to shut the doors in order to get our syrup to finish. So we are heating it down here, and one thing we're looking for is a consistent heat. We don't want to see the blue wavering because then we know we're losing energy. And we keep our eye on the thermostat or the temperature. We want it to be, we watch that temperature so we don't overcook it, and we give it a stir so that we bring the hottest syrup up to the top. And then we keep it covered and we don't touch it again. You can see how it becomes kind of steamy. Eventually, when it gets hot enough, it'll start to boil. I guess right now it would be important to take a look at the dark color, because once we run that filter through it, the color is going to change and it'll be significantly different.
So now we're finishing it off and we're going to test it one more time with the hydrometer.
So we're at the final process in the bottling of our maple syrup. So before I fill my jars, I want to talk to you a little bit about what I have set up and how the setup works. As we showed you a little bit earlier, this is our test kit. This is the style of syrup that we're making today. And we have our little jar here. We're going to fill that to remind us that we are bottling today on the 23rd of March and that this batch is our first pour. Oh, let me show you. Come here. We keep track of all of our pours in each little tiny jar so we can just have little memories of how many times we've boiled and what the syrup quality looks like each time we do it. It's kind of fun to have. You start to lose track after a while. It's kind of a lot of long nights.
I mean,
a lot of long
tonight
nights.
we did the first batch, and guys, this is the second batch that they're doing, and now this is the third batch that they are working on. And as you can see, it's just started there.
And what time is it? Like 9:40 at night or something like that?
Huh.
It's pretty late. So we have a variety.
It's like almost 10 o'clock.
So we have a variety of jars. So we make here, we have the half pint jar, we have the 40 milliliter jar that we have bottled as well. We have the pint, we have a half gallon, and we have all the way up to the full gallon size. What we need to do is we need to label our jar. We need to make sure that our customers know when this product was made and by whom it was made. So we have a few things on here that stand out. First, this is 100% New Hampshire made grade A maple syrup. It's New Hampshire made right here in Samberton, New Hampshire. All of the syrup has come from Samberton trees. Also, we have our address of where we've made it. We also have on here produced and packaged, and that's a really special thing. What produced means is that it comes from the trees, and what packaged means is that it's made or packaged, jarred here. So this company, Maple Meadows, not only makes the maple syrup, but we also jar the maple syrup. That's a really special thing. Not all producers or not all companies do that. All right, so you want to see what it looks like, Maria, when it comes out?
Yes.
All right, so what we do when
exciting.
when we pour, first of all, this is going to get really heavy and it's going to get extremely hot, but the trick I've learned is to hold the jar at an angle because you do not want the bubbles. So I pull the knob and I move it, and you can see it coming down. Can you see how steamy it is?
Oh my gosh.
Now, Miss Maria, can you bring the viewers up to the top here? I don't know if you can come all the way.
You're testing my
I know.
challenge, so.
Well, I'm trying to pour it at the same time.
Oh,
You
wow.
see all that syrup in there, and all of that has to go inside our jars. So, Miss Maria, let me tell you something interesting about these jars. When this syrup comes out, it is super, super hot, and it like expands the jars. So if you come close with the camera, you can see that the syrup level is down inside, and then when I set the jar down, it fills it
Oh
up.
boy.
So when I'm pouring, I want to make sure that I don't over pour or I'm going to spill it when I set it down.
You don't want to waste all that deliciousness.
Yeah.
So.
And here's another really fun fact. Did you know that when you open up your jar and it has that plastic coating, like let's say an orange juice bottle, and it has that paper or plastic coating that you have to peel back?
Yeah.
So you unscrew the lid and then you have to peel back that film. That's what's inside here. And this is actually kind of sticky. So that when I put it on the jar and I twist it, then what I do is I have to turn it on its side or I have to turn it upside down because I want that heat to help seal that.
Seal in, yeah.
Yeah, and on the larger containers I can keep them on the side because the volume will fill this area. Yep, so that's how I fill that jar. So now I only have quite a few more to go.
All right, guys, so moment of truth. We have been here for about 6 hours, okay? If you pay attention, it is really dark out here. We started in a beautiful day. It's a beautiful night. So moment of truth and the best part of the evening. I don't know about you guys, so this is the best part of the evening. So cheers.
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 Cheers. Cheers.
Woo. Okay.
What did you think, Miss Maria?
Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
Do you want to stick your finger in there?
All right, first of all, I'm gonna finish this, open the cup, and like it's so good. This is amazing. If you guys wanted to come and see this presentation live, look at Maple Meadows Facebook page, and they will post when the next boiling is so that you can come and see this process. We had a lot of families here today, so it's really nice to come and see. And if you want to get your very own maple syrup, there's a comment below in the comments with the address and the phone number. And oh my gosh, thank you guys for having us.
You're welcome.
We're so
Thank you for
appreciative.
coming.
You're welcome.
Yay.
It's great to partner with the Gilford Public Library.
Yes, come and visit. Have a great night or day.